Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Tasmanian businesses are seeking clarity about mask wearing rules when the border reopens. With just 8 days to go, the Premier is refusing to acknowledge who is responsible when December 15 arrives.
For business owners like Roseanne Mallett, the rules around mask wearing from December 15 aren't crystal clear.
We're still a little bit confused about what the rules are around mask wearing. However, we have been able to purchase some masks to have on hand. If it's mandated that we need to wear masks, we'll be prepared.
The Pharmacy Guild is already a step ahead, issuing a directive for mask wearing based on public health advice.
That's in the attempt to make sure that we keep our pharmacies open and that we have the essential supply of medicines to thousands of people in the community.
They'll join GPs on the front line of the vaccination rollout for 5 to 11-year-olds from January 10. And in just a few days' time, Tasmanians can access a Check-in Tas card in addition to the app.
The business person will be able to scan the card. Details will be provided through, obviously, the QR code there.
With just 8 days to go until Tasmania opens to the rest of the world, the Nursing and Midwifery Union has concerns about members bearing the brunt of a future outbreak.
And we want to be sure that the government and the department are prioritising their health and wellbeing just as much as they're prioritising the health and wellbeing of the Tasmanian community.
Despite some states reconsidering their border reopening strategies in the wake of the new Omicron variant, Peter Gutwin won't be budging on Tasmania's opening date.
And there is no advice in front of me that says that we should not reopen on the 15th of December.
Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
Hobart's path to securing an Ashes test has been complicated, with Cricket Australia putting the hosting rights out to tender. Victoria, New South Wales and South Australia are set to enter the bidding war, but our Premier is calling on the governing body to sacrifice cash for a chance at making history.
Putting our case forward to host one of the clashes for the Ashes. The 5th test now venueless after Perth's hardline border rules cost it hosting rights yesterday. The Tasmanian government now going into bat for Blunston Arena.
Not only would it be good for our economy, not only would it make history, but it would put Tasmania not just on the national stage, but on the international stage.
Peter Gutwin confirming he has spoken with Cricket Australia's CEO. Our bid is facing challenges from interstate, with Melbourne and Sydney looking to pinch a second match, while South Australia's Premier is pushing Adelaide Oval's case.
Why not have it at the best cricket oval in the world, the Adelaide Oval? We would welcome the 5th test here with open arms.
Peter Gutwin hitting their claims for 6.
They've had Ashes tests played ad nauseum in those states. Don't double up. Don't give Melbourne or Sydney a second test.
A further carrot extended today, with capacity limits increased to 14,000. Commercial considerations along with COVID rules and the ability to host a day-night test are expected to weigh heavily.
Our aim is to make sure that 5th test is delivered safely.
The Premier urging authorities to look beyond a healthy payday.
Don't be seduced by these larger states. At the end of the day, this is more than a bottom line. This is about making history.
Australia's new Test captain letting the issue go through to the keeper.
If it's a pink ball match and they get the wicket right, no stress from us. It's a format that we've had a lot of success with.
The battle is fierce off the field as it will be on. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
A former Glamorgan Spring Bay mayor has pleaded not guilty to 4 charges relating to improper use of information and misuse of office. Debbie Wisby chose not to comment outside the Hobart Magistrates Court.
Debbie, anything you'd like to say?
No, thank you.
The 51-year-old was bailed to reappear in February next year. Meanwhile, an 81-year-old man accused of attacking a woman with a hammer in Wynyard last month has entered pleas in the Burnie Magistrates Court. Ian McKenzie pleaded guilty to wounding and arson. He is expected to stand trial in late January after pleading not guilty to an aggravated burglary charge in relation to the incident. The first direct flight between Launceston and the Gold Coast in decades has just touched down in what's set to boost northern Tasmania's bruised tourism. Reporter Letitia Wallace is at Launceston Airport. Letitia, what impact will this new service have?
Kim, this new Virgin route is expected to bring around 2,000 people into Tasmania each month. As you just mentioned, the first flight from the Gold Coast has just touched down with around 120 people on board. We haven't had this direct service between the two cities for at least 20 years. 3 return flights will run each week, but they will be seasonal, meaning they'll end in April. This new route completes the trifecta for the airport this year after it welcomed direct flights from Adelaide and Perth as well.
Allowing people to fly freely, non-stop to so many places is such a great advantage now for us. And it's actually the first time in the airport's history that people travelling in and out of Launceston can travel to the 6 biggest cities in Australia direct.
So I didn't even realise until today that it was the first flight. It'd be nice to get to the Gold Coast, catch up with family.
And Kim, with our borders reopening next week, return flights here are expected to climb from 12 a day to 47, which will be very welcome news.
Okay, thanks very much, Letitia Wallace there. Labor is calling on the state government to put an immediate pause on new permits for short stay accommodation. The policy would apply to entire dwellings statewide as a solution to free up housing when the border reopens.
It's time for the government to start thinking innovatively about solutions. This is one thing that they could do right now that would start to ease some of that pressure in the private rental market.
The state government says banning short stay accommodation will not resolve the current shortage of affordable rentals. Waves of motorists have rushed to Taspetroleum's new outlet to fill up their car with cheap fuel. The frenzy coming as soaring prices have some calling for regulation, but the government says the answer is more competition.
After cutting the ribbon on a new site, Taspetroleum slashed their prices for the day. Motorists queued up to take advantage of the bargain bin Bowsers, many suffering from soaring prices.
So you're looking at $100 to run this one and my wife's car backwards and forwards to work. There's $100 straight out of your pay already.
I can remember buying it for $2 a gallon, mate.
Some already spending their savings.
Oh, that'll be a cup of coffee on our next trip.
Thank you very
and
much,
a croissant or something, yeah.
We're trying to provide competitive fuel across the state, and it just proves that today with the turnout.
The drop spurred on other competitors in the north who matched the deal.
I'm a Liberal Premier and I believe in competition, and that's one of the most important things that we can do to drive down prices.
But the Premier says his government doesn't yet need to regulate the market, even if Hobart motorists are paying at least 15 cents more than the average pump price in Melbourne today, according to RACV.
The most that the government's done at the moment is introduce an app. That's pretty dispiriting for people who are already struggling to pay their bills.
We've managed to keep downward pressure on prices, but there seems to be a bit of a breakout at the moment. It does concern us.
RACT says retailers are hanging on to around 20 cents per litre, up from around the 12 to 15 they normally like to see. It wants motorists to use the Fuel Saver app to compare prices, and it's delivering a warning.
Watch this space. We could well be paying $2 in the new year.
Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Hundreds of Tasmanian producers will be supported through a new directory encouraging people to shop local. The Eat Well group is behind the initiative, which is also hoped to help tourists navigate fresh produce while travelling.
Walking through their very own sea of green, Michaela McGuinness and Ollie Wichman have spent the last 3 years building their Sorrel farm from the ground up.
Because we actually brought our greenhouse down that we built in Sydney, so then we just popped it back up again and then we were off with the microgreens.
Husky Greens joins a number of Tasmanian businesses listed as part of a new producer directory, encouraging consumers to think local.
This is another resource to help Tasmanians to understand what they can get locally, when it's available, and how to make it taste delicious.
This particular project, $200,000 over 2 years. It's a valuable project. It's a project that has clearly produced results.
Backed by the state government, Eat Well Tasmania is the brainchild of the free website.
99% of Tasmanians, they want to buy seasonally and they want to support Tasmanian businesses. And I think through the pandemic, we've heard that loud and clear.
It basically gives us access to local community who might not have known we were there before.
Ahead of the festive season, it's not just Tasmanians who will benefit from knowing where fresh food can be found.
Certainly from a tourist opportunity, there is the ability to log on, map where you're going and find that producer.
Tasmania's climate is ideal for growing a number of different foods, with the wet and cool conditions making it perfect for things like lettuce and cabbage.
We just have an abundance of fresh, healthy, ready-to-eat produce across our state.
Businesses who haven't already planted their virtual seed are being encouraged to do so. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
A Tasmanian support group has struck a festive chord, hosting a carols performance. Colony 47 says it's looking to bring people together this Christmas at a time when many are struggling with isolation.
A group of community members already on Santa's nice list, doing their bit to herald in the season.
Christ is born in Bethlehem, hark the herald angels sing.
Colony 47's Eureka Clubhouse, a hive of festive joy today. The Ho Ho Hobart Choir putting on a special concert, covering a range of classics.
They're what I call sing-alongable. We've got 11 quite traditional, well-known Christmas carols, and then we sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer for a bit of fun.
And they shouted out with glee, yippee! Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.
The performance aiming to help members enjoy the spirit of the season.
Having this connection, really saying that people care, makes an enormous difference. And doing it now at Christmas, look, it has a double benefit.
We had people videoing, and they can share the videos online, and live streaming and things like that. Just helps spread the joy of Christmas.
A familiar face was among the choir. This clubhouse staff member taking part.
This is the very first year Eureka Clubhouse have these choirs, and definitely everyone loved it.
A Christmas lunch also on the menu post-concert. Colony 47 also confirming its traditional Christmas Day event will return in a COVID-safe way this year.
The people that come there are families. We have older people that might be isolated. We have a whole raft of people that just want to be there.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
He's a street-sweeping Good Samaritan, a council worker whose chance find is now helping the local community. Roscoe, as he's known, stumbled across a set of expensive tools while on the job. Now he's handing them over to a woodworking shed, which is about to launch the state's first tool library.
By his own admission, a tool shed is out of Roscoe's comfort zone.
I'm not much of a handyman at all.
But a bigger spanner in the works came when the veteran street sweeper spied this set of tools worth $6,000 near Kings Bridge.
Thought, geez, this looks a bit sus, so I took them around to the police station.
Weeks passed, no one claimed them, so Roscoe passed them on to the Kings Meadows woodworking shed, the perfect place for these bits and bobs.
Met all these guys for the first time today, and a good bunch of fellas.
And a thankful bunch too. The team works tirelessly to make products by hand for those wwho need a hand.
Mrs Brown might come in, she wanted a little crochet hook made out of wood, and then someone might see something in the paper and said, or a book, and say, listen, I'd like that made, but that's too dear, we can't buy that. So we'll do it at a reasonable cost.
The fellas here aren't keeping the tools all to themselves. They're launching a tool library so locals can borrow what they need and have a crash course to uncover the handyman in all of us.
So we'll be the first in Tasmania.
And when it's soon up and running, Roscoe will be sure to call in, although the charitable council worker won't be swapping street sweeping for saws and screwdrivers anytime soon.
I love it. Love coming to work, and feel proud to wear this emblem, which is great.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
A new mountain bike festival is coming to Derby next April to showcase the northeast region. Organisers are hoping Derby Fest can become a signature annual event in the town and attract world-class riders to hit the critically acclaimed trail network.
The purpose of the event's really to continue to attract that family market. That's where your next generation of mountain bikers come.
from. With the event of such a caliber, I think it's just going to put Derby on the map even more and attract high-profile riders and more businesses, hopefully.
The state government is contributing $135,000 over 3 years to the event.
The Hobart Hurricanes have scrambled to finalise their 11 after English import Jordan Thompson was sent into isolation after being named as a close contact of a COVID-infected man in New South Wales. A 15-player squad has been named for tomorrow night's opener against the Sydney Sixers at UTAS Stadium. Fellow import Harry Brook is also being replaced after he was called up for an English Lions tour match. Riley Meredith and Ben McDermott are out injured, while Scott Boland is also unavailable. He's playing for Australia A. But the coach has faith in his remaining bowlers.
Joel Paris has trained the house down, and getting an opportunity to open up the bowling for us.
Matthew Wade will captain the side. And Launceston United has locked in W League player Ellie Lamont. Formerly part of Perth Glory, she's trained and played alongside Matilda stars Sam Kerr and Caitlin Ford. She was drawn to Launceston United's professionalism in the Women's Super League.
The way that they run women's football here is definitely up and coming, so I'd like to be a part of that.
She'll also take on the Northern Championship women's coaching role.
Good evening. Hobart's 16 degrees was 4 below average today. Launceston recorded 21, nearly 2 below average. Burnie 19, Devonport's 22 was the state's top, shared with Friendly Beaches. St Helens 21, Lowhead 19, Bushy Park and Flinders Island 18, King Island and Strawn 17, 15 the top at Grove, and Lyowini hit 12 degrees. A cold front crossed the state today and moved off the east coast. Ross, the best rainfall from that, with 13 millimetres to 3 p.m. That same cloud band crossed over Victoria, low cloud over southern parts of WA and South Australia. Cloud-embedded thunderstorms is over the Territory, Queensland and New South Wales. Tomorrow a high over the Bight extends a ridge over the south of Tasmania. A trough lies over eastern Australia with another over the west with associated lows. Winds mostly southwest-southeasterly at 10 to 20 knots. Inshore afternoon sea breezes, swells up to 3.5 metres. Hobart 16 and partly cloudy, 16 the top for Geeveston, a possible shower, 40% chance, partly cloudy for Bothwell and 16 degrees. Launceston 21 and partly cloudy, Devonport 18 degrees, 19 the top for Cressy, the chance of a shower, 18 for Burnie and partly cloudy, a morning shower for Strawn, 16 the top, 16 for Carry-on King Island, St Helens expecting 16 and partly cloudy, Swansea 15, 16 the top for Orford. UV mostly at 9 but a very high 10 for St Helens. On Thursday mainly fine apart from a shower over the southwest, the chance of patchy fog over the north. A possible shower over the southeast and central areas but mainly fine on Friday, and on Saturday mostly fine apart from a shower over the northeast. Perth heating up to 38 degrees tomorrow, partly cloudy for Adelaide. Showers developing in Melbourne, a shower and 22 in Sydney, and possible storms in Darwin, Sydney and Canberra. Partly cloudy right now, cooling down to 13 in Hobart, 17 right now in Launceston, Devonport sunny and 17 degrees. I miss Brisbane there, Kim, for the test tomorrow, 30 degrees, the chance of a thunderstorm for the next couple of days, but they'll get plenty of cricket in.
Good stuff. Thanks very much, Murph. That is all your news for now. We'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us this evening. Good night.